All right. Hey. Hello. Thank you for watching the VOD. Appreciate all the comments. You guys continue to be super cool. It's fun to share those comments with the team. I would say that for the like 98 point something percent of the time, man, you guys in the YouTube comments are really great. You can tell every once in a while when somebody like just discovered the game, typically on a short. It'll be on a short where someone's like, oh, what is this? So, and that's all good, man. It's an incredible ratio. So, appreciate it. I think this stream's live. It is live. There's Rascal. Visibility 0. Ghastly. John. Guy Love, Asturanian, Tiffler, Pipes, everybody's rolling in. Pity's here. Coot is here with all of the best ideas. Coot has arrived to save the day. I've just popped back in here to again continue to poke at this a little tiny bit while we talk, so it doesn't seem like I do absolutely nothing. What I should be doing right now is wrapping up the update, but I'll get that posted for you tomorrow. It'll be a Friday treat. How about that? Matza Boy, Agnarok. Salrog, Caliber 84, thank you, all of you, for follows. That's cool. Zed's Gaming, hello, first time chatter. Long time listener, first time caller. Magnus, hello. Sugar Demon. Pitchy Stars said, been living class updates so far. Can't wait for October. Hope everyone is having a good day. I hope you're having a good day as well. It's nice to hear. Yeah, October is going to be wild. Phantom Ghost, hello. Mr. Brookle, Cell Sharp, Rehawk, Synexa, Drew ATX. A lot of you rolling in today. I guess it's because it's a little bit later than the last stream, huh? The last stream was very early. I apologize for that. But I mean, I don't apologize for it. I'll do it again. I'm just gonna. I wanna make sure I don't miss the opportunity to hang out with you guys during the week. And it just, if I try to stick with the evening time, too much stuff pops up, and what'll wind up happening is the stream time. So it's 18:20 now. So 6:20 in Germany. You know, whatever time it is over in your part of the world, a lot of our team is in North America. And so when people are waking up and they're available and they can hop on a call, or it's easier to do back and forth feedback, it's hard to not take those opportunities some evenings, especially if there's like something wild that's popped up or whatever. So I definitely try to prioritize that, but then I wind up going a whole week without streaming, and don't want that to happen. I would hate for everybody to, you know, not have a chance to pop in and ask questions or whatever. Seems like there's some value for you guys there, so might as well. Jeffrey, thanks for the follow. Strange J, hello, I'm doing well. Hopefully you are as well. Gulo, what's going on? Javastine, Salrog, Mathematizer, Big Stick of Butter. I think I've said for what, like a year or so now, a Krimsky instead of Ace Rimsky. So apologies, I caught that the other day. Novaman XL, hello. Charity Hugs said this must be the big Deep Elf announcement. What announcement are you expecting that hasn't happened already? Oh, you mean like that they're playable in beta or something? Not at the moment. Can you elaborate what was fixed with feigned death by chance? By real ass. That's a good question. I'd have to look it up. I don't know. I don't even remember discussion of that. I could maybe, oh my gosh, so much. I could dig around and see. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't pay attention to. You can clip that. These are all old, so let me sort by newest. There was something that was broken. So it looks like something was broken. And then it got fixed. Hey, Sarenth. Miscellaneums. Lucy. Algnosis. Synthetic. Hedge. Corinthia. I did manage to get to the garden. I posted some pictures in Discord earlier, like in the general channel. So if you just search for me, you'll see some pictures of the garden. What was broken? They renamed it. Feigned Death is broken on dev, can't stand up, tried cast and monk versions. Okay on staging. Does that sound about right or familiar? Hey, Captain Hook. Pinamu. Seems to be working a lot better now. Okay, well then, there you go. The Hirsch said, on day 4 of playing in Eminem and feel like I'm experiencing one of my best times I've ever had while gaming. Please, tell us more. Tell us all about yourself. What is your gaming background? Were you looking for this type of game specifically? How did you wind up in the game? What do you find that's different? What do we do that the other girls don't? Panda Physique said FD is much better now. Nice to hear. Very relatable name. Esoteric TV, thank you for the follow. Dolce and Katana, what's going on? Swanee just told you about me. Uh-oh. That's... You're doing great work. Hey, thank you. I'm really just, I'm really just hanging out with the guys that do all the good work. Mostly just hanging out. Feign Death does feel good in regard to how mobs are behaving. They're aggro and forgotten the FD. Oh, there's Swanee. John, you were in that issue. Does what I just described about Feign Death, does that make sense? Like you were the QA person in there, weren't you? Well, it looked like both you and Math were dealing with it, but if you've got anything that I missed, feel free to say. Dreddy Ronin, what's going on? Why does that name sound familiar? Where did I just see your name? Wani said, I was just making the rounds saying hi to people, streaming the game, turning people into gnomes and skeletons, typical break from work stuff. Right on. You need a break every once in a while. Be working your butt off. Novo said it's 12:30 a.m. where you're at? PM or AM? Jeffrey said, hello, I just wanted to give a shout out to the GMs in game. They're so prompt at answering petitions. Appreciate that. The guys are very prompt. They're awesome. Especially GM Azaleel, if you ever deal with him, probably the best GM. Caliber 84, did I already read out the appreciate all of the work you and your team are putting into the game? Love the game so far. It doesn't hurt to say that twice. If so... Hey, Dreddy. Nightek says FT immediately mimblers 100% of the time. Every time now. Feels great, but probably too strong, question mark. Aha. That's the catch. I'll be curious about that one. That'll lead to some discussion. Watch. Lucy Charmy said those garden pictures were gorgeous. Now I'm convinced to try it out after the move to the new house. Yeah, so our garden is not near our house. It's about 2 kilometers away, but it's worth it. I just throw the dog in a little basket on the back of the bike and take him up there and he gets to run around. Our garden neighbors love him, so we took our little fence down between the 2 garden plots, so he's got like a full, probably 800 square meters to run around in. So, and they stuff him full of treats. Well, items in boxes and banks start being tracked. I know the player, Kai, got devastated by a patch a week and a half ago and lost many plat worth of stuff. Boxes in banks or so bank stuff is tracked. The box stuff isn't. I don't think it's being tracked at the moment. That may be something Swanee can answer. You're welcome, Ixar. It fails more now, but it mims blurs 100% of the time. Okay. Let's see. The Hirsch said, hi everyone, my name is Chris. I've been playing since EQ since I was 4 in 1999 on my dad's lap. Wild. Play MMOs, MOBAs, FPS games, just game all the time. This game seems to have captured the perfect mix between social and gaming. Nice to hear. Spawn timers feel perfect. Name mobs don't feel like pushovers while still being approachable. Grouping and soloing both feel wonderful. But grouping in dungeons feels amazing. Not entirely sure what the game does to feel like magic compared to other AAA MMOs or indie MMOs, but it just feels like the social aspect is a key part. The social aspect is... I don't know, man. Maybe we should have just said... We shouldn't have said classically inspired. Maybe the tagline just should have always been like, we're making a socially focused, not socially conscious, a socially focused MMO. But I mean, that's a big part of Classic, right? Let me make this more atmospheric. Yeah, the doggo does love running around there. But okay, so it sounds like you've got a background with these types of games. You know what you're getting into, but you're happy with what you're seeing. Granthia says, garden looks great, so a few weeds. Oh, just because I wasn't close enough for you to see them. We got a shitload of weeding to do this weekend. Big update tomorrow? Not that I know of. Plateau says, I've been on the PvP server having a blast in random pickup groups. Except today, don't scare people who are in groups at night and you might not get attacked by said group. Yeah, you've got to walk up respectfully, I think. I got blasted one time because I was following this big ogre up towards a group that I thought he was in. And so I was just following this guy up. My camera's in a weird position. Green screen's probably screwed. Whatever. I was following this guy up towards a group, and I thought that he was part of the group. It was only like a couple dudes. And I get up there, and I'm standing there next to them in their campfire. He's standing there, and so I'm just assuming they're the group. And then he just starts whacking them, just starts attacking them, and they're blasting him. They start blasting me. I run. I think they kill him, which was cool. And I'm just like, I bugged out. I escaped, and then I sent to the one guy a message. I was just like, I didn't even remember their names. I had to go. I looked at my combat log, and I was like, hey, I wasn't with him. I was wanting to group with you guys. And they're like, oh, sorry about that. I'm like, no, it makes sense. I would have blasted me too. Want a group? They're like, yeah, sure. And so I went and grouped with them for a bit, and it was cool. I don't know what it's like, if you get up into your like 30s or whatever, on the PvP server, like pickup groups. But so far, if I'm rolling an alt, if I'm just popping in or whatever, I've gotten just tons of groups. Almost always. Minimal grief. But I have the advantage of playing at weird hours, and yeah. I'm also very friendly. Like I'm a very communicative person in game as well, and I love social engineering, pulling groups together. As you can tell by us having a company, like I enjoy. It's one of my great passions in life is just getting people together to get stuff done. So whether that was trying to put bands together when I was in high school, even trying to pull together like a D&D game takes a bit of organizing, but then I was that way in the army. I was that way when we built our skate park. I think that's what helped me when I got the variant and wanted to get into design and stuff. I just like, hey, let's produce value for the corporation today. Pipe said, wait, you mean the team does play and test their own game? Gasp. Dude, it's so fun. So in the mornings, I wake up and I'll try to grab petitions and stuff. If there's some petitions in the queue, I wind up grabbing some of those. And when I pop onto servers, because I play on both servers, when I pop onto servers and deal with people that I see, like I've either grouped with them or I've seen them, because a lot of the names that are there all the time are pretty common. And then I deal with them as a GM, or I deal with you as a GM. And then I'm in game encountering you and you're like helping me out or buffing me or grouping with me or whatever. It's kind of a fun feeling. Cause I'm such a smart ass in groups as well. It's fun to be silly and unwind. Oh, I should probably mute this before I sneeze. Oh man, the weather's like just whiplashing here the last 2 weeks, so I got a little allergies kicked back up. Picking my main is stressful. Stop making so many good changes. We appreciate that. And honestly, man, like, just play the game for 10 years. Main everything. Just main everything. Be in our 10-year club. Buy the 10-year subscription. The 10-year subscription will only cost you... Someone do the math. 12. 120. No, that's not correct. Yeah. $1,800? Buy 9 years, get to 10th year free. That'll be our subscription options. 1 month, 3 months, 10 years. 9 years, sorry. Hey, Kat. Rimco, thank you for the follow. Lifetime subs are a tough one, man. Like, we had this discussion a ton at the last company I was at, because they sold a lot of lifetime subs. Lifetime subs make more sense if you have other upsells like cosmetics and stuff. So lifetime subs make more sense if you've got a regular way of continuing to monetize, because otherwise you're presetting the LTV, the lifetime value of a given customer, and so then you either have to really undersell yourselves, or you have to create a ridiculous, $1,500 sub. I say ridiculous $1,500, and I'm not saying this to throw shade at any company, I swear. It's just the first thing that came to mind, and then as soon as it came to mind, it started coming out of my mouth, which, pause, I'm a blabber, so, but then I was like, all right, but then I say that, and I don't want anybody to take offense if you're in the industry or whatever. Dude, it's hard to make games, and so I don't want people thinking that I'm like throwing shade at other developers, because dude, it's hard for them as well, and they're just making the choices they're making, or maybe their company's made or whatever. But I mean, just having seen over the years like Kickstarters and things where it's like $1,500, right? Like, we're talking about it kind of as a joke of like, yeah, you want a 10-year sub, $1,500. Feels like Game Studio is closing a week in 2026. Yeah, it's been that way for the last 2 years now. Criddle said, nope, we heard $1,500 subs confirmed EA launch. Pipe said Criddle caused $1,500 10-year subs confirmed. It is true. Now that Criddle has said it, obviously I must do it. I don't want to get in trouble with my guild leader. That's stuff you guys come up with. Honestly, I'm not mad at it at all. It's adorable. It's adorable. It is adorable. You guys are adorable. You're not even a leader? I have no idea. I don't say these things to be mean when I'm like, I don't really know or have the energy to care like what's going on in your guild or what it's at first the scorpions are mad at the Razor Fangs, and then the upstart guild, the nose goblins were there, but then everybody got mad at the nose goblins, and so now there's an alliance between the Razor Fangs and the scorpions, but then the Bad News Bears they got involved, and they just came in, and I don't know if you heard this, but the Bad News Bears, they've ruined every game in the history of online gaming. You've got to watch out for them. They use emotional blackmail on the GMs. Swanee was caught ERPing with the guild leader, and Sean is receiving design documents that they are implementing word for word. It's just like, guys, dude, we don't have time. We don't have time. It's, and the reality is, I know that there's probably there may be somebody on the team, or yes, it's enterprise resource planning. I don't know what people are thinking. And the funny thing is, I've seen a little bit of like, the most I've seen over the years was like early days. There was a bit of jockeying, like FOH, by a couple people early on, and then most of those guys weren't on the team after I got on the team. Most of the people that had like strong connections to, or whatever was going on there with like FOH, they just weren't on the team, and none of us gave a shit. And like our guild leaders were pretty much just, they were aware of who we were, but knew not to ask because it's kind of an insult. It's like, oh, can you give us the cheat code? It's like, dude, come on. I do this shit for a living. Like, I don't it's kind of like this. Hey, we know you haven't taken any of our money for 5.5 going on 6 years. You've been as open as possible about pretty much everything. You've taken the occasional hit on things just to try to maintain like honesty and openness. But you know where I think you're probably going to compromise your integrity? You're in that guild, aren't you? You're in the guild. Yes. Yeah. I'm I'm in the guild because what I need is, like, what would I get out of that? World first? We were part of the world first. It's like we're making the monsters. And I do think that it can happen, that maybe it's more of a thing for people that are newer in the industry or whatever, and it's like this desire to be liked. Maybe it's a thing where it's like there's this desire to be liked by people that you consider cool, because hey, I do think a lot of you guys are really cool people, you know, and I'm not just saying that. There are a lot of funny, very smart personalities in the community for sure. There are a lot of really rad people in the community. You guys don't know it. I don't know how much you know, you guys are aware of each other, but there are a lot of industry people in the community. I was just got a request yesterday from somebody on LinkedIn in the industry that was like, "Hey, game's looking cool, you know, can I check it out?" Absolutely, you know. And so there are a lot of people from other game companies. I mean, they're interesting lawyers, and you know, like, just I want to watch what I say. There are interesting people. I don't want to like get into weird quasi-doxing territory or whatever. And the community's rad, but I mean, we talk as normal humans outside of the context of that. I don't need to be like, oh, let me hook your guild up so that you'll what? I don't. Beta key favoritism is definitely confirmed. There's been some beta key favoritism over the years. I don't know how to break it to you. But then we made the lottery and tried to be fair, and then ruined it for everybody. We should have just stuck with the favoritism. A certain other game got into a lot of drama when devs were spawning mobs for a guild. Yeah, I'm not going to get into other people's business or the details. I don't know I don't remember the details of like how much that was like meant to be legit a test or not a test, or but that's one of those areas where once the game's live, then you really gotta like even on beta, we try to be pretty careful about that. But honestly, on beta, we benefit more if we're in a position to do it at the moment, to just be like, hey guys, all right, everybody gather up your guilds and like get in line or something, because we want to just run through this, you know, we want to run through this encounter 10 times or something and pull some data. And, you know, in the past, I think we've done a little bit of that, but. Fair. It's clear NWC listens and adapts. It's a great dev team for being essentially unpaid. I mean, we try our best. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but we try our best to listen. We just have certain things that we really, really want to try, and I think that freaks some people out. And yeah, but I've covered that one a bunch. Like the whole, you may not be wrong, but we're still going to try it for a little bit and see what happens. Oh, the $sign Sean thing that was going on was pretty. That one was pretty dope. My poor dog. My wife came home for like 10 minutes, really quick, just to like pop in, and then she's gone to the range, and it was like the dog's. If you hear him whining in the background, he's fine. He waits all day for mom to come home, and when she's got something like that after work where she's got to come back by for a minute, he'll wail for a bit. Looking forward to the merch store. Would like to buy a shirt and Gamebox. So Gamebox is one of those things that not until we've got enough money to actually pre-order the game boxes and put them in there, but like shirts and all that other stuff will definitely be happening. Hey, Jabroni. It's nice to see that the amount of toxic comments are a lot less than just intellectual conversation. I think is it you guys are younger than me for the most part. Is it just is that just the state of the internet? Like I don't get around to a ton of other communities. So is like every subreddit full of people talking about how toxic the community is, and like every, you know what I mean? Like generally yes. Okay, because there's a comment in on YouTube right now, and I think different people have different experiences, but like the overwhelming sort of like experience that I'm seeing and I'm hearing from people and stuff is just a lot of people are coming in and having a good time. Like I've heard just a hugely disproportionate number of comments, and again, I'm sure there's a rhetorical term for whatever bias I'm under right now, but like here are a lot of people. They're meeting people. They're having a good time. They're being more social than ever before. I think a lot of people. I don't want to say it that way. I think a number of people are experiencing a social MMO for the first time, and let me know if this sounds like a harsh generalization. Because I don't mean for it to be, but I do believe it's the case. I think there are a number of people that are in the game and in the community now that maybe aren't used to having to really interact with people outside of their group. You know what I mean? And so people are encountering like friction that's normal kind of friction you could run into in these situations. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but I think it's almost we're almost doing a service for some people. Because there are a few people where I've had petitions in the mornings. I've grabbed a petition. I'm like, hey, well, you know, this is how you. This is essentially how you let someone know that you have that concern. You know, it's a little 10-minute therapy session. Like, this is how you communicate with other humans. Sounds like the wrong generalization. Most people in the game are over-experienced with that and have low tolerance for the downside and friction. So you think that people are, they're used to running into, like, hey man, you know, I was here first, or I'm just passing through, and then I hear what you're saying, but, you know, we're gonna do this, and Lucy Charmy said, can agree this is actually my first social MMO, to be honest, but loving it and the experience along the way. We should just have an AARP server to solve this. Well, I mean, we're eventually going to have an AARP discount. If we're blessed enough to stick around for a few years. Okay, so Ixar says, oh, cool. Okay. There's a lot of text flowing by at the moment, but at least two of its bigger chunks from Ixar, and I'll read these out because they're worthwhile. Ixar Shadow Knight says, first off, absolutely love what you guys have created. Please don't take this as an overbearing criticism because I think you're getting 90% of the game right. What's your vision for named encounters and iconic loot? Looking back on my journey to 58, I don't have many named encounters that really stand out. Fair. Maybe I just haven't spent enough time exploring or doing quests, but camps like Horvath feel a little underwhelming when I compare them to something like Frenzy Ghoul and EQ. It wasn't just the FBSS. The mob itself was a spectacle. It was hasted, hit hard, and when it spawned, everyone knew shit was about to go down. Fair. There is mystique around it. With Horvath, you only really need to clear a few mobs before the room, and then you can pull and kite him, which kind of makes the encounter feel less special. Maybe animation effects aren't finished yet, but is the intention for named mobs and their rewards to become more unique and memorable by EA or beyond? Yeah, absolutely. So it's a fair, and then he followed up with, I'd love for Eminem to have its own legendary and iconic camps. 100%. So it's a work in progress. A lot of what you're seeing, I mean, dude, a lot of what you've run into has been, I mean, you've seen me in here kind of come in at times and be like, all right, let's kind of blast through this pretty quickly and get it up and playable. Next phase will be, you know, essentially making sure it's itemized. And then from there, if there's some obvious feedback that comes in or whatever, then there's some quick adjustments that are made. In terms of like more iconic items, we've got a pass that we want to do where we go in and get more of that in. One of the challenging things with itemization for EA, and it doesn't preclude us getting those types of items in for EA, is we've got a limited surface area. Even when the deep goes in, we've got a limited surface area for how much where we can work. And as the world gets bigger and things get more spread out, then it gets easier to put in passes of more iconic standout items that become like these chase items or whatever, or legendary camps where you want to go to them. And then we can spread that out more. So more quests will be happening, I would say, from EA start to 1.0 over time. The farther along we get, the more you'll see quests go in that send you out to different places. The camps themselves, a lot of it, I would say the NPCs, if it's not something that somebody's had a chance to go back and like tweak or add abilities to or whatever, I could see how they're just basically, they spawn, they're just a rare, you kill them. We've done a little bit of adjustment over time, but definitely not enough. So people, I know Stab has been working on abilities in general and ability sets. And so getting the broader suite of abilities for NPCs in a place where we have easier controls on making sure that different NPC classes feel better. A future pass will be looking at both humans and non-humanoids and ensuring that they've got more unique abilities. So it's, oh, if you're fighting this type of beetle versus this other thing versus this type of mummy or whatever. Did I say mummy? Mummies aren't in yet. Then there'll start to be more distinction there. Right now, we've also got a couple new designers that are ramping up that will help us basically get caught up again to free us up to go through and do these passes sooner. One of the designers is, like I said, somebody I've known for 25 years now. And he's just been primarily focused in Fall and Watch. And like I mentioned in Discord earlier, he's going pretty hard in Fall and Watch, so we'll see how much that feels like an outlier of a zone, but like in terms of unique abilities and yes, the Ring War fella, Akiris. The Ring War, Hollow Shade Moor, Acrylia, Ring Events, and he also did zones as well. And then from there he went and worked at Blizzard. Well, from there he went and worked at Sigil on Vanguard for a bit, and after that he went and worked as a content designer at Blizzard for 15-16 years. So so yeah, we'll see. And then what we want to do is look at some of the abilities that are being created there, ability usage, see how that feels. I mean, it's just, that zone's kind of packed, so we'll see how that feels. It may turn into a thing where it serves as an interesting basis for us to look at other rares and other zones and kind of get more stuff in. But I basically, what I'm trying to say in a very non-concise way is, over time, we'll be going back in and making that more obvious. But it's something, honestly, it's something I think about a lot as well. Is like, what are, where is that first polished granite tomahawk that you want to get to, or whatever? Where are those items that stand out, like a, flowing black silk sash, or and some of it is also like, there are some items that are in game that could have, could be more standout, but they're maybe not in the right place or at the right level or the right encounter. So yeah, it's just going to be, it's not something where there's some, one, it's not an oversight. Two, it's not something we disagree with. We absolutely agree with the sentiment that you're expressing and wanting to get it done. So let me scroll back up then. How are music levels? How's the audio today? The flowing blue silk scarf, yes. Music's a little bit quiet. How about now? Hey, Daniel Boone. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up. Galen Dulles said, most people I meet in game are nice, but I try to actively avoid the shitters. Yeah, you should avoid poor behavior whenever possible. Fears Gaming said, Game's great. Ignore the smoke. 800 hours in now. The quest lives on. Awesome. And I don't recognize your name, to be honest. So for you to be one of our 800 hours person is pretty dope. I'm scrolling down. Game's great. Economy's a bit funky at the moment, but everything else from Game Social is excellent. Awesome to hear. But charity. Thank you for your service. Rimco Dutch, thank you for the follow. 24 minutes ago, if I didn't say it already. Javastine said, in the time I've been in game community has been awesome, but there are the occasional D-bags. The weird thing, there is very rarely something in the middle. So you get cool folks or you get the D-bags, super rare. But you don't often join a plug of silence and no interaction. I have on occasion. So I can see someone getting unlucky and just getting a few of those D-bag pugs, just thinking this is the community. Scrolling through, sorry, I'm reading. You're already camping Frenzy? Is it the Frenzied Rat? Rofa Show? Argostinian said, some of my guildmates mentioned Ali. Previously stated charisma decreases the pacify resist rate for enchanters, but the in-game description for charisma states it decreases the break rate for pacify effects. Does this mean charisma doesn't change pacify resist rates currently? I do not know, but that is a very clearly well-articulated question that, I mean, I'll just post it in Slack and see if I can get you an answer before things wrap up today. How about that? I'll post it in buffs and abilities. If any, oops, not all caps. If anyone knows, I'll pretend like I knew all along, and then the stream people will think I know stuff about the game. Oh shit, mic was still on. Akira said, side note, we were doing Ring War last night. Forgot how cool large scale events were that mattered. Having stuff like that would be awesome. Well, Akiris, I think our Akiris agrees with you. This looks like Unity. Savage Toddler, it is in fact Unity. It is Unity. This is a dungeon. It is not a small dungeon. It is a decent sized dungeon in Unity. What's better for bug reports, in-game, forum, or Discord? I personally think the best is /bug, unless it's like something crazy critical. Oh, Zillith is in chat. Okay. Zillith says it does affect resist rates. Break rates are a combination of two factors: how often a check is made, configured per ability, and the actual resist check made at that time. Hey, what's going on, Robert? You were tagged in Discord about a potential interview, Robert, if you didn't see it. Argostinian, did you hear that response? If not, I'll read it. Okay. No, he heard it. If it changes resist rates, it would be cool for that to be added to the in-game description. Cool. Is this pathfinding view? I'd like the UI for it. If so, this is basically just Unity. It's just the scene view. And then we've got a custom editor that we use to create spawns. And modify spawns / give them their go-tos and behaviors and stuff like that. We have a Curious spelled AKK instead of IKI. Algnosis said, super fun. This game has so much potential for teamwork synergy with the different classes. Amazing. I haven't felt that type of coming together in a long time. Yeah. Okay. I'm now going to paste Zillith's comment back into Slack so that the guys have it. There we go. Teamwork. Oh. A couple of notes because I got caught up on some videos. I was listening to one of these while walking the dog earlier even. So 2 Penny updates. Those of you that haven't checked it out, be sure to check out Penny Loafer's coverage of Eminem. That's fun stuff. Oh, why is this way? Let me fix this real quick and I'll continue before I forget about it. There we go. All right, so Penny, first of all, sorry about the bear. Now I'm listening to my poor pupper's whining. He's been pretty good lately, but he really wishes that my wife had stayed longer before darting out today. Let's see. Hey, Justin Beard, my dear friend. So anyway, let's go back. I hope you're doing well, Justin Beard, to Penny's bear problem. So the bear, we know that people love having companions. We get it. So the challenge is, do you have a game where every class basically has a pet, like a gameplay focused pet? That's not going to work, and we were pretty pet heavy before. So then sorry, I just totally got distracted by Ixar Shadow Knight's text. Hold on one second. Let me start over. So we know that everybody loves having a companion. Not everybody. Some of you maybe don't like companions or pets or whatever. That's your own thing to work through. But the idea of like every class having a pet that can actually do stuff in gameplay has been something where obviously we don't want that, right? And especially since it eats away a different class identity, and then it's a whole gameplay thing, you're bouncing around it or whatever. But the idea of people being able to, like a wizard being able to have a familiar, or, you know, Penny being able to run around with Birch Bear. Different people being able to have pets is been something where we've talked about it for a long time, and I've always been a fan of like familiars and pets and house pets and all that other stuff. But here is where I've kind of stood on it, and you guys let me know if it sounds Paladin with the Squire. It's kind of, that's a little iffy. That's a little weird. So there are some people on the team who are big fans of the idea of cosmetic pets. And so here's where I stand on cosmetic pets. Like anybody gives a shit, but it's my stream, so I feel, because that felt really weird to say, like, here's what I think. No, whatever. But I guess it is my stream. So as much as I try to make it like our stream, but anyways, I always love the idea of cosmetic style like pets that you can have, because having pets and companions and expressing your unique individual character and all that stuff it's neat. But like seeing people run around with like a bunch of like cosmetic pets is not, you know, like just the whole camp's cluttered up with 15 pets, and it's just, so I've always been a fan of like house pets. And if a pet goes out of the house, it's fair game for monsters to kill. So like having a house cat or a house bat or a familiar in your house or whatever is fine. But if you take your pet out of the house, it's going to potentially be eaten by giant spiders or orcs or whatever. Limit pets to 1 summon per character if the pet's in the house. Well, I would say not even the summon. They would have to like bring it with. I guess you could have like a pet cage, but again, not a huge fan of like when it starts to just feel super gamey. House cat phylactery. Your house cat is a lich. So that's kind of where I've stood on it. Pet battles coming to M&M, confirmed, correct. Fortnite, yes. Yeah, and so non-combat pets, permadeath, no, but like a res cost or something like that. So that's kind of. What about adding a function to hide people's cosmetic pets if it becomes a rendering issue like corpses? I guess if it ever got to that point, but I'm kind of hoping we don't get to that point, but I guess it could. Clothing device in your house, you have to. I just think it would be some sort of a cash sink or something like that. Pet cemetery next to Night Harbor. Yeah. So essentially for me, the idea has always been cool if it was just one of those things where we really put some like rooted it in world and made it, made it so there's some risk there and maybe a money sink and just made it so you can't, running around Night Harbor, there's plenty of room in Night Harbor if you're running around with your pet dog or whatever. That's not a big deal. Hanging out at the tavern with your familiar is fine. But when you start going out in nature, then don't be surprised if NPC or two has like prioritized kill pet on their AI. It would be a new player economy, like you could set up a exotic pet shop. And that's the thing. So the idea of people taming pets and, going out and being able to like tame a pet or put a pet in a carrier after you've tamed it or captured it, bringing it in and then, doing stuff like that. Money sink. All I heard was mechanical non-combat pets from tinkering. You never know, right? So. Kat said, my thing in MMOs is when everyone has cosmetic pets and it's just a mess of shit at any gathering. Kills the fantasy vibe for me personally. Yeah, and then you've really got to be careful of like what type of pets you have. It's in a lot of, I know a lot of games put them in as just like a opportunity to do, you know, additional microtransactions, and they get a little crazy. But yeah, so that's kind of those have been my thoughts on it. Pet carrier for mounts instead of saddlebags. That would be kind of cool. So we don't want them everywhere. We don't want it to be a big floofy mess. There should be risk. Your pet can get killed. But then you could do something to, you know, essentially pay to get it res. I think even if it's like a druid res or whatever, it should have a component cost. Right, there should be a reagent cost. So, because we really want you to think like if you're bringing your thing out, then pets on PvP server would be open game for sure. Be fair game. Yep. 1 gnome soul to revive a pet. I think that's a good anchor price. And say that as a gnome. But you removed the ability for druids to res animals? I thought we put that back in. Pet rock is definitely a very cheap asset for us to put in. Animation costs are worth the price. And I'm trying to scroll back up to the new person that had a question that we answered. Argostinian. Just an update for you, Argo. The wonderful Loki, our editor, is inquiring about edits with regards to some in-game stuff. So if there is something that needed fixed there, maybe Loki will get it. Houseplants, definitely. Houseplants, gardening, eventually farming are things that we want to do. For sure. You know, I like the garden stuff. And Ollie is a farmer by trade. We have not discussed class updates at all. Did not do that. By the way, thanks for some good conversation in Discord today on some of the stuff like in-game ideas and stuff like that. Let me see if I can find a lovely robot. I posted some images. Of my garden, since some of you asked about garden. I know a lot of folks don't care. Oh, there's a button to just make it hop out. Open in browser. Cool. So this is the view from the garden house looking over, I would say, most of the garden. All of this is strawberries, including in there as well, apple tree, plum tree, old plum tree. It's dying, but he's still kicking it. To the left here are blackberries, and then all of that green right there on the other side, that little wooden fencing we put in past the pup. That's all raspberries, tomato house, tons of potatoes. We've got red and white currants. So there's that one. And let's see. We've got corn growing there. I've got the tomato plants are in there. So we got corn back there. It is black and red corn. I don't know that I'm going to have time to get any sweet corn in this year. We've got a bunch of tobacco that's still in seedlings sprouting on the balcony that we'll take in. And then tobacco is super easy to grow. It's one of those things where it's super easy to grow, and once you grow it 1 year, if you take the seed pods, you basically have infinite tobacco. Because each little seed pod, and you'll get dozens of seed pods, will contain, I don't know, hundreds of seeds. And each one of those seeds can grow an entire new plant, obviously. Why did I even say it that way? It's obvious. Yeah, so we got squash, we've got red cabbage, we've got artichokes, and I mean, just a ton of stuff. Melons, cantaloupes. How long have you had this garden plot? I think this is like year 4 or 5 now. I wish I had a better picture of the garden house. We had it basically redone, and it's pretty dope inside. I have to get you a picture of it if you're interested. I have like a little garden channel in my own Discord. Hey, Rondo. Did I post anything else? I think just some more close. Oh, you can kind of see but it's the fisheye kind of makes it deformed. It doesn't look it's kind of like squat looking, but it's pretty big. I mean, you can see the path there. So, and it's a whole new roof, like super high roof on it. Schreber Garden, yep. This is our plot. So corn's coming in. I really need to weed the this is an older picture. I just cleaned all this up, but the weeds are back. It's been raining a lot. So I've got to weed the compost. And then we got in the back corner there, my wife's got like a little fairy garden, little mushroom area with ferns and stuff like that. So yeah, that's our place, man. When I'm saying I'm going to the garden, no mulch yet. The whole side over here. Oh yeah, we have a shitload of blueberries like right there in front of that bush. It's off camera. Again, if any of you are actually interested, I'll post some stuff in my Discord, not the Discord here. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll post something. I just don't want to bug people with my non-M&M trivialities. Peppermint's growing like crazy right there in that raised bed. This is scrubby looking. It's before I weed eat it and stuff, but we're gonna mulch all of the blueberry areas because the blueberries love mulch. It just makes that side there look nicer. So, yeah, and I'll have to show you one day. Like the inside of this house is done like old school American roadside country antique flea market style. So you go in, it's just like a massive American flag with like antique. What is a shrunk called in English again? Like what is a shrunk? Like a chest of not a chest of drawers. Like I forget now. You can put dishes in it to display them, and it's got drawers and stuff. What? Armoire, I guess. A hutch. Yeah, hutch. Yeah, hutch. Yeah, it's got a sink and stuff like that in there. Sink and refrigerator, and yeah, so we've got 2 big antique hutches that people were giving away for free on German Craigslist. They were just like, pick it up and get it out of here and we'll let you have it. So they're like these nice, super old school solid wood, glass front, like hutches that we, put all of our various stuff in. And yeah, some really nice sort of those those IKEA chairs that they're kind of slightly bouncy with the footstools. Got 2 of those in there. Plenty of room. It's got like I think it's like a 12 or 14 foot ceiling now. So I just go in there and I can smoke my pipe and relax after, you know, drink a cold iced tea after doing some garden work and just chill out a little bit. So yeah, basically my life is working on M&M. When the weather's good enough to hit the garden, hitting the garden. Yeah. Try to squeeze in. We have a gym room upstairs. It's pretty well equipped at this point, and so pretty dope life, man. I appreciate it. I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful. Atomic Frog said, "Kick-ass garden, man." Hey, I appreciate it. How you doing, buddy? Have I seen the Adventure Journal post in the Gameplays Ideas thread? It's posted by Jersey. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked at it. I don't know how much it's evolved. So, please don't take this as me being dismissive at all. I was looking at that. There's a lot of stuff in there that's, I think, well thought out, very well done. My concern is the overlap between a lot of those ideas in terms of presentation versus kind of the more, I don't know if informal is the right way of saying it, but more open-ended vibe of doing, like, interacting. But in terms of, if we were to go the direction of kind of what was Star Wars Galaxies, you know, you had I think the one that really stood out back in the day, first Swig did the was it a holodeck? Holocron? I don't know. That really contained a ton of the information. And then Warhammer Online had like one of the coolest approaches to logging all that information as well with their, and again, I'm spacing on the word for what they did. But yeah, and so some games have done it well. It was actually one of my contributions to Star Stable, was getting them a little quest journal type thing with achievements and stuff integrated and all that. So I like them as a concept, but when we say, I don't know if it feels right for this game, really it's not being dismissive, it's not being lazy, it really is just like, that's the thing we're kind of thinking about. So yeah, somebody made a good point, Agnosis, that somebody made a point in the last stream or somewhere in Discord or whatever, that when we were talking about the fact that people need to kind of tab out to look at maps, that it made them feel like the map was even more real, because it's like this tangible thing in your life that you've got to kind of get. And I mean, in theory, you guys, you know, you could print it out and put it there, you could have it, or maybe one day we'll release a very cool map book. There happen to be some very talented map makers in our community. But yeah, there's something about it being notes that you write down or notes somewhere else or going to the wiki that just makes it a little bit more, I don't know. It feels different because if we provide it to you, then we are saying that this is definitive. This is what's important. This is our take, you know, so. And I know this will sound lame, but even, you know, and eventually we'll break what I'm saying here by probably releasing some maps or whatever, but when I was working on DC Universe Online, like DC Comics, they would not give us a definitive map of anything. What about a cartography trade skill? We've talked about various incarnations of it. It's a hard one to get right for us. So there are a lot of ideas. It's a hard one to have value and not fall into what I was just describing too hard. More analog, like pen and paper days. Yeah. We'll be selling a quest journal on the merch shop. Savage Toddler, thank you for the follow a little while back. I meant to say it, but I forgot. I think we've talked about ideas where cartography works more like archaeology and things, where it's essentially a skill where you're collecting different components, which then lead to maps, which are actually like event triggers and things like that. We've talked about that as well. I just looked over. Okay. Oh, another note. Another thing that came up, and I'm mentioning because, again, appreciate the content, and sometimes when I run into certain topics, I'm like, this is actually an interesting one, and I like to follow the folks that are making content as somebody that's very new to our type of game. So I mentioned there are 2 penny notes. The most recent video is the one that I was listening to while walking the dog, and it is related to going to a camp, not knowing that you're at a camp for hours. And this actually gets into the previous topic of like personalities and social and all that stuff. And so maybe this is already covered there. You guys keep talking about tabbing out. Do you not have second monitors? Why do you have to tab? Do you not have... Do you not have second monitors? Oh no. Do you not have phones? Yeah. Listen. Not everybody's big garden rich, I know. Alright, so hey, maybe we need is it a 501c? What do we need to do for you guys? Two monitors in this economy? Exactly. I had a second monitor, but he's out delivering Uber right now. Or delivering Uber. I blew it. Delivering, you know what I do. Yeah. I can see it now. Eminem devs say you need a second monitor to play their game. They just happen to have struck a deal with Rogue. Is it Asus? Justin Beard, now you're actually making me feel bad. He's like, if I wasn't in crippling debt, second monitor actually sounds useful. Getting a desk to accommodate one. Justin Beard, we'll have to take care of you. Go to Best Buy, get on the easy payment plan. The Niche World's Cult monitor payment plan with 37% interest. Sorry, I didn't realize there were so many solo monitor people out there. I got spoiled by all of the crazy setups I see in our Discord. Get your M&M ready Alienware second monitor. Yes. With 200% higher gamma settings. Nice. That's actually, there you go. That's, you guys have figured this out. You've finally found the bit of friction that we're putting in just to monetize it. Other games put in XP potions. We sell you second monitors with gamma settings that allow you to be able to see. All right. You guys stop guilting me. You guys stop guilting me about the second monitor situation. I know damn well you have phones. Put it on your phone. Put it on your phone. Except for Justin Beard. Let me flip it open. Damn. The screen too cracked to see. I love you guys. So next, listen, we will eventually do some stuff that eventually makes Wizards happy, probably before EA, maybe. We have a lot of game balance ahead of us. Just happier is all I want. We could probably do that. Anyways, 2 hours later on this penny thing, the video where they were at a camp for 2 hours and then somebody rolled up and was like, "Hey, I'm 12 levels higher than the mobs around there, but farming something else, and so you need to go." It's an interesting example, and I'm hoping that because I was looking at the comments on the video, and a lot of people are like, I don't know that I could play a game like that, and how do we prevent this from happening? And the suggestion of like just having rares spawned in random places is one where, yeah, some rares will spawn in random places, but keep in mind that's not going to change that situation. And the recommendation that I have in that case is, if you're over there for 2 hours and you're out of the way and you're pulling mobs and everything's good, and then someone rolls up and is like, "Hey, I'm here," you could just tell them no, and talk to them, see if there's a compromise there or whatever. Be like, "Hey, well, we've been here, appreciate it," and then if that doesn't work, you can always petition. But I will say, for the various examples I've heard of, like, hey, there's a high-level guy farming over in this place, and unless it's like just one specific, if it's a dungeon room or whatever, it doesn't happen as often. But I've had plenty of experiences over the years where we've got a group somewhere nearby, and there's somebody that's looking for a specific item or a specific rare, or just happens to be over there power leveling a tune or twinking an alt or whatever. And I can actually at the moment literally picture different occasions where we've run into like that high level cleric or shaman or whatever. It's typically like a druid or a shaman or cleric or some healer. Maybe it's a pet class or whatever. And they give you out of group heals, or they give you buffs. So they're like, "Hey, it's fine. I just want this one thing, and then you guys can take that." I ran into that on a petition the other day. There was a guy that was in there who had just been camping, had been looking for a specific, I don't even know if it was a drop. I think it was like a quest drop. It wasn't like an item even, in Wormsbane, and was just like, "Yeah, hey, group, you guys can come in here." I was in a pickup group actually and went in there. That was a few weeks ago. And I went in and it was just like, all right. You know, we're in there, and the guy was like, hey, I just want this one thing, and then hooked us up whenever we needed anything, got the item, and then left. So, I mean, if you know, so Phoenix said, it's happened to me. GM took their side because there were 2 camps despite them being 20 levels above the mob, but one camp wasn't enough mobs for one group. I mean, if they were there first, and if they're there first and you rolled up, then it's their camp. It's just always nice when it's like, hey, yeah, I'm just looking for this one thing so you guys can have... I mean, I've seen plenty of situations even where it's, you guys can have every item that drops off this thing except for the one that I'm looking for. So, but again, it's a social game. This is what happens. We've removed a lot of the very smart, very sensible guardrails that have been put in place over the last 2 decades to help keep people apart and help these problems not exist, in favor of seeing if we can, over time, have more and more people, even if they're new to this type of game, come in and learn the etiquette and learn the rules. Yes, best quote, clip it. We removed everything smart. Just to see how you guys would react. It is the Rat Utopia experiment. Isn't that what it's called? We're being funded by the government. We are actually... The mask is off. We're actually a research project. We're funded by CoQtel, the investment arm of the CIA, in order to run a project to see if we could test the social resilience of millennials. No, right? Utopia is all the rats got everything. You're right. That's the opposite of us. We're the rat dystopia experiment, I guess. Justin Beard said, speaking of petition, can we get some kind of text telling the player that they have fallen through the world? I fell through the world and I didn't realize it because it looked like I was just swimming in an ocean. I even found a boat. We first, really, we need to just make it so you stop falling through the world. And if we can't do that soon, I'm just going to put in teleport volumes like I've been saying we should do for a while now. Algnosis says, serious feedback. At the end of the day, content is king. I'm so impressed with NWC's focus on getting content out. We have Night Harbor, Fail and Draw, and soon other docs. Tons of unique, amazing races, tons of classes, tons of mobs, camps, encounters. Focus on content from NWC is obvious and will pay off big time. Industry is a graveyard of games that die to death with 1,000 cuts instead of just getting solid game out with lots of content. We want to get a lot more in for you. We're conscious of the fact that we don't have as much as we'd like, but appreciate the compliments. Wormsbane quest drops are so frustratingly rare that you can be in there for hours as a high level. Yeah, we want to look at those quest drops. There's some Wormsbane refactoring that's going to go on. Sev said, if I come to a camp and there's a solo camping named, I always ask if my group can get the experience mobs, and they say I can have it. It always works out. We all work together for a brighter future. I just pictured that poster even. Eminem working together for a brighter future at the merch store. What are the negatives to teleport volumes? I don't think there's any negatives. I think it just is one of those things where we keep thinking that we fixed the bug and it's not worth putting them in. But I think it'd be good to put them in and then have an event that's tracked so we know how many people have been teleported out. Maybe. But I don't think there's a negative to it. The music is very good. We are blessed to have Robert on the team and as passionate as he is about the game. Are we getting a tour of this place? Not today. There is a video. We've got a VOD that does provide a pretty decent tour of this place. There's a VOD somewhere. Hopefully you guys will be in here soon enough. Ogres are going to have a hard time in here. That's the one thing I'll definitely say about this zone. There's going to be some ogre complaining. And I think that's just the way it's going to be, because if I had to guess, if we were to go to CAD and say, you know what, we need to increase the size of these doorways, I don't think it's going to work that way. Remember, there's a crouch button, he said. So there you go. What's the Friday treat you mentioned at the beginning of the stream? Did I say there's a Friday treat? Oh, I need to work on getting the update out tomorrow. It's almost done. I just need to get it done. Any chance of adding another boat from Keeper's Bite to Night Harbor? Not at the moment. We know that they're slow, but they're that way for a reason. Next deep dives. I don't know when we're gonna feel comfortable letting you know what that is, when that is. Apparently, discussion of pets earlier has left the Zillith's brains have melted. More pet code. Hey, Scruffy Bard. I'm doing good. Hopefully you're good as well. As I'm loading in, I realize there's no telling what zone I might be in. John said Zillith will be okay, just needs an emotional support pet. I think that is a great response that you should, How the deep zone's looking? That's a good question. Oh my gosh, the editor is so much slower than the built client. Let me... You guys have seen the deep zones. There are VODs out there with the deep zones if you want to check them out. Can you bug the editor speed issues so it can be? No, there's no bugs. So the thing is, there's a lot of optimization that happens when the scenes and the client's built out that we just don't get in the editor. So, because the editor is just, it's a different, it's got a different purpose. It does a different thing, right? Because, and I'm just talking out my ass. I'm just assuming that's the case. I'm not a Unity expert or a programmer by any means. So... I just found out. So basically, when we're working, one of the things that's fun that we can do is, for those of you familiar with Unity or whatever, it's probably not a big deal. But when we're running around in here, sometimes when we're doing a lot of like propping and mob placement and stuff, I'll just work in the scene view the way I was. I'll work in the scene the way I was previously, right? So when it was just sitting there, you can see it. But like if I go in here right now, I can go into, let's see, no docs, enable zone spawners. Hey, Ashir Body Pillow, what's going on? So here you can see, essentially, I'm able to load up all of our design data in the editor while the game's running, and then make adjustments, reload zone, and see those adjustments in real time. So that's been handy when we're like fine-tuning stuff, when we're tweaking things. So that's pretty nice compared to some of the projects I've been on or been a producer of in the past. So that's pretty cool. Ashira Body Pillow, I was kind of I've been kind of wondering. I was like, is that the real you? Are you still hacked? What's going on there? Is the plan to have deep zones tested before EA? That is the plan. We're going to be rolling on it. Work is being done in the underdocs right now, this zone. In this zone, if you're not familiar with it, it is pretty spectacular. Because it is a full district, not just down here, but those of you that haven't seen it, and there's all sorts of interesting stuff hidden in these cavern walls all the way around here. but you actually entered a zone. You can enter it from the deep, or you enter it from... All right, I'm not moving fast enough. I may have to cheat mode to get up there. GM speed. So, you guys like verticality? We like verticality. Verticality is cool. So you actually you take some tunnels down from the bins, and then you wind up here. What's up, Quatos? The bins is the only entrance from above, yes. I can't remember. Does this one go down? Oh, that was I kind of felt that a little bit. So this is halfway down. Some fun newbie quest mobs. Yeah, that gave me a little stomach tickle. That was definitely a... So we've got a few people working in this zone. So they're working to get this zone online for you as soon as possible. And then, hey, Curly Goblin, I was just thinking about you today. No joke. Zone, let's go to... And then we've got a new designer you haven't met yet. Goompappy, if that's what it said, then I would assume that's changing. I would have to ask. Fly, GM speed. The crazy mushrooms here are going to change. We're just using what we had available to be able to kind of like try to get a feel for the size of the place and some layout ideas. But we'll be making some new... Can a max save fall monk survive that drop? I don't... if I had to guess, probably not. That's a hell of a drop. Yeah, definitely try it out, though. So those of you that haven't seen it, so this is the zone next to the Underdocks. It's the caves of Aram. And so we're working in here right now as well to get this ready to go for you. Yeah, it's very different than the old Deep Dunes. And then... let me see. I know there's our newest designer has been working over here in this other area. Excuse me. Well, you guys remember that the original Deep Dunes was I just took shaded dunes and I swapped the textures out on it and I duplicated it and I flipped it over and sandwiched it together. It was a good zone though. It was a cool little zone. I liked. We need to have another deep zone that's got that. That's got that kind of low ceiling height throughout feel to it. So we're going to be looking. Oh my gosh, we're going to be looking at some of the scale and other stuff in here because this is a big zone. So yeah, work is going on in this zone. I am not going to tell you anything, Quatos. So if the desert underneath and desert above, does that mean that the deep will usually look somewhat similar to the world looks above it? Sometimes. Other times it may be radically different. We do. I know nobody actually said this in chat, but I just thought it. We do actually need whirlpools and quicksand whirlpools that occasionally pop up and will suck you down into the deep. I think that would be a good hazard. Got to add that to the list. Yeah, sinkholes and. I'm not reading out anything you're saying in chat right now. I'm not going to read it. You guys. You guys are a little too rated teen. Rated T for acting like teens right now. Rated T for teehee. Yeah. So yeah, we're working on it. We're gonna be moving as quick as we can to get this stuff available to you to play and test prior to EA. Try to hold that whole area as one camp. It's a pretty big area, huh? So I was told that you guys were allowed to have one spoiler today before I wrap up the stream. How does Ultravision interact with the mushroom glow? That's a good question. I have opinions about visions, but I have not heard confirmation from people about my opinions about visions. But Keep in mind, I'm also using GM speed, so I guess a better representation would be... Pity said the spoiler is that you're Criddle's dad. I don't know. Ask your mom. And quit picking on your brother. Okay. Don't make me turn this car around. I don't even know if the logic holds up on that. If I was dad, then... No, actually, I think that does hold up. Okay. Who let Quados out of the sewer? Right? Aren't you... I saw a video that you're now officially... You're officially the... Are you the sewer lord, the mayor of Sewer Town? What's going on, Quatos? We were talking about you... I was talking about you with somebody... Oh, I can reveal. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Close this. Yep. So anyway, 1 to 50 in the sewer Kanos aqueducts. It was the best. It looked like a good time. It looked like you were having fun. To finish my thoughts, I was mentioning to Chad Solo that you had showcased one of his maps in that short. I was like, I saw you in one of Quados' shorts, and then naturally that led to him being in your shorts joke, which I thought was appropriate, given the timing was good. It felt wholesome. Nice. So are you, Quados? Are you done with us? Is that... I don't know that we can offer you Sewer Lord. I don't know that we can offer you Sewer Lord. I don't know. We'll have to work on it. We're going to have to up our game. No, you played today? Okay. I was getting worried. No, I appreciate all the kind... I appreciate all the kind references and stuff in your videos. It's always nice. I'm glad the YouTube algorithm is smart enough to make sure that I don't miss any of your stuff. You're one of the people that whenever you pop up, it makes me happy to see whatever it is you're talking about, even if it is highly inappropriate, or especially if it's highly inappropriate. So it's always nice to see you pop into the feed. And it's always nice when people are using the various Quatos emojis in here. Oh, anyways, I totally mentioned that somebody said that I could provide a spoiler today. I was given permission to provide a spoiler and you guys didn't even ask about it. It's like you don't even care. I've only got a little bit of time left before I raid. I think, is Goblin streaming? Raid Goblin or somebody. You're good? Okay. Cool. I want the spoiler. I want to hang out with you more. It's true. I wish you lived closer. So the next deep dive, Zillith has mentioned that the next deep dive coming out will be Beastmaster. Well, if we're not hitting your class yet, maybe it's because we're giving it extra time. You know what I mean? So there you go. That is the spoiler. As soon as we confirm being allowed to mention the next one, yeah. And one of the things that so before I wrap up, one of the serious notes about the deep dives and about the class changes, it's been really it's tough for the guys to basically have to juggle a couple of things that are going on at the same time when it comes to these class changes. Because we have the current state of the classes. We have you guys are typing. I'm not even going to look, otherwise I'll lose my train of thought. We have the current state of the classes. Then we have the state that we would like to get the classes into, which in some cases that's going to, there's opportunity for some degree of controversy because we're touching classes in any way, right? They're going to be the people that are like, just absolutely leave it as is. They're going to be the people that are excited for the changes because they weren't happy with where it was. And so anytime we do anything with a class, it's going to be, there's a certain amount of maintenance that's going to have to happen within the community with regards to communication and calming people down or addressing stuff. And on top of that, anytime we're introducing something new, there are going to be potential bugs. There are going to be any number of things going on. In a perfect scenario, there's going to be that. Now, take that transition from old state to new state, but on top of that, we're doing a lot of just under the hood changes to what is essentially the engine of the core loop, right? The combat loop. As we're making changes that we need to make, that over time need to be present in order for us to tune the classes, because there's old state, new state. The new state is being done several at a time instead of all of them at once and then handing you, hey, here are all the class updates. Because in theory, what we could have done is just said, hey, we're updating the classes and you'll get to experience them in early access. Or if we can get it done beforehand, sometime right before early access. And then we just go dark for several months, work on the classes, and then we flip them up. That said, it's a situation where it's like, all right, well, that's going to come at a cost to us in terms of like calming people down or whatever, but we do find good stuff. We'll find stuff that was broken that we wouldn't have found until much later or whatever. We get feedback, etc. So there's old state, new state in terms of what it's supposed to do, and then there's how do we make sure they're then balanced relative to each other. Because if somebody's like, hey, my DPS was 200 and now it's down to 70, but this other guy's DPS is 65 in this state, and then ultimately we're looking at a class that we're comparing a new class to old classes, and we don't know what's going to happen to those old classes. Do we understand the standard across the board? And all of this is happening on top of things like TTK changes, and the TTK changes are multivariate, right? Because the TTK being increased is like, is it hit points? Is it, something changing with regards to the formula or AC or whatever, right? So And then there's pool changes, which again, the final pool changes of like how many hit points do you have, or what's your stat cap, or your max AC, or your mana, like max mana. All of those things are things that need to get tweaked towards the end, relative to the game and relative to each other. And then we've got all this other shit going on, and then we say like, hey, we just made a change to like, you know, mana or hit point regen recovery speed. Then people are like, oh, but now the game's too easy. And we're like, yeah, but we're about to change TTK, and then we got a list of other things that are going to happen as well. Hey, buddy. And so then we make another, right? So it's just this whole thing that the reactions will be the reactions. We know that's going to be the case. What are you going to do? We try to provide feedback and updates as much as possible. But at some point we've also got to, we can't answer, you know, when you're 100 comments in a thread for the day, and each comment's got like 4 questions or whatever, there's only so much we can do. So if we're ever not responding to you, it's not that we're ignoring you. It's just we're trying to focus. And yeah, because we've got a lot of shit to work through. So I would say the more appropriate time to like really, I guess, be more apprehensive is as we're getting closer to EA. Feedback is fine. Honestly, feedback is great. But like, when the feedback consists of like, this is garbage, you know, we feel like you're intentionally sabotaging my life, you've ruined everything that is holy and good about the world. I was going to play the game, but now I'm not only not going to play the game, I'm actively going to unplay the game. Right? So it's like, yeah, we get it. You're not happy. So when it's, but the funny thing is, in those conversations where people go like, hey, but what about this? Or like, there's a question earlier. It's like, all right, it should have been 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Instead it's supposed to be 5 minutes. And it's like, okay, that's good. You know, that stuff helps. It's like, oh shit, we missed that. Or, hey, there was a bug. I think Jahar was in, speaking of wizard form, I think Jahar was in there yesterday for a little bit and was like, hey, people were like, hey, what about this, this, and this? And he looked and it's like, let me check the database. Cool. Boom, boom, boom. And fixed them on the spot, right? So yeah, when you guys are arguing with each other, being mean to each other, that's just shit that we got to skim through. When you're being mean to us, you know, it's okay. We put up with a certain amount of, but when it gets to be like, if, you know, hey, I don't know what the expectations are for various discords and stuff like that, but like, if you're being, there's a very low bar. There's a very, you've got very, very little leeway for like just being directly mean to developers or whatever. So, being mean to developers will get you timed out and eventually just removed. The people that are just providing solid feedback, appreciate you a ton. But hey, you guys are being mean in chat right now. Don't be mean to the people who are being mean even. Just really, Sean, you are ugly. Fair. I'll take that one. So we We are hoping to do good stuff. Sometimes the stuff we do will not be 100% on the mark, or sometimes the stuff we do we're actually really happy with, and a number of people are happy, but you don't like it, and it's just, and sometimes there's bugs, and like I said, there are a ton of variables at play here. So, you guys have so much patience. I mean, I'm not sure. Not sure. I mean, what we want to ship a game. We just try to ask people to be cool, and then we just keep working on the game, man. If anybody has a spare key, reach out to Seafoot. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's the stream. 2 hours. Goblin streaming. We'll raid Goblin and check out. You can check out some good art being made. Appreciate you guys being here. No stream tomorrow. It looks like the weather's going to be good after all. And my wife gets off work at 1, so we're actually going to try to get to see each other a little bit this week. So the game does run on Linux. If you get on the Discord, there's lots of info there. And yeah, so everybody have a fantastic weekend. Like I said, I'm going to try to stay on top of these streams. Get at least 2 in each week so that we can hang out and talk. It's nice talking to you guys. I don't know, man. It's always nice to hang out a little bit, even if I'm not getting stuff done. But hey, we just added another designer, so I don't feel as guilty about not plopping as many mobs, because our new designer is ramped up pretty quickly and doing that as well. So I'm not going to mention his name yet because I don't know if he's got like a secret developer name, so I don't want to use his name. But he is a designer and artist. It's a fun combo. He was a level designer at on Wasteland 2 in Exile, and he then went to Blizzard, where he worked as a prop artist, a 3D artist on WoW a bit. Then he became a senior designer on one of their unannounced projects for a while. And so he's he's a great guy, super nice, again, like the rest of the team. Very technical, but also content focused and able to not only plop mobs, but fondle rocks. So as a fellow rock fondler, awesome. I'm very excited to have him on. Zukin said, yeah, new guy was asking about LERPs already. I was like, dang, homie's on it. Yeah, he hit me up this morning. Like, it was like, hey, I've got mobs in the zone. It's just like, right on. Good stuff. So that's good stuff. All right, guys. You guys have fun. I'll see you next week. Let's raid Goblin. Where is Goblin? Am I gonna have to type it in manually? There he is. Starting the raid now. All right, guys. See you next week. Be safe. Take care.